Yeah, it was a sign of relief, I guess, knowing that the fight was going to be is going to be made in the near future. A lot of I think when you start boxing, you always dream about the idea of fighting for a world title belt, and the fact that it's going to happen, it's quite exciting.
So obviously you being the #1 mandatory challenger now, that should mean in a perfect world you are going to get to fight the world champion in Brian Castano. I guess the issue we have is we don't know what he's going to do next. Is he going to fight Jermell Charlo in a unification rematch, or will he honour the mandatory and fight you next? I mean, obviously I know what you want, but I guess the flip side of that is that if he can fight Charlo and win all those 4 belts, then you would be the next man to fight for all 4 belts.
Yeah, if I could get Charlo in one, if I could get all the titles in one hit, that'd be amazing. But I wouldn't mind doing them. I wouldn't mind getting the titles one by one. That way, I get to fight each one of them and take each one of them out one by one. It would be even more satisfying.
What is that about you, Tim? Because I think just about everybody else would rather try and get 4 for the price of 1, but you're happy to go and fight 1 for 1 and get them all.
Yeah, it makes your life more exciting. And again, you want to fight the best, and I guess if you're a world champion, you're considered the best. So it'd be lovely to take every one of them out one by one.
You know, both of these guys have spoken about you in disparaging terms, and they've talked down your ability. And it seems like, certainly from an Australian perspective, knowing what you're all about, knowing your talent, that pretty simply these guys are trying to avoid you at this stage. Is that your read?
50-50. I think these guys have got a massive ego, and they think they're someone they're not. So I'm all right. I've been doing things here quietly here in Australia. Still going to be doing things quietly in Australia. But I want to come to America with a bang, and I want to take them all out again, and come in with this like atomic bomb.
Speaking of atomic bombs, you've got one just under your left eye there, mate. What's been happening? You're obviously deep into sparring. Who got you?
Yeah, well, I've been doing a few rounds with the big boys. Tim Hannon actually got me with a nice shot actually. But yeah, I'm in good shape. In all honesty, I've been training the house down when I've heard the news about not just the world title but future opponents. Me and my coach have been putting in work for the last 6 weeks. So we're deep into prep because there's such big fights ahead, and I'm super excited.
So, Timmy, let's talk about that, because Tony Harrison's the name that you've been constantly mentioned with. He's the only man to have beaten Jermell Charlo, who, of course, owns 3 belts, and was obviously stopped by Charlo a year later in a pretty competitive fight that he was just behind on the scorecards. But if all things fell into place, then you potentially could fight a Tony Harrison in November, around maybe, say, 14 or something like that, about 8 to 10 weeks away. How confident are you that fight is going to go ahead, given the world that we live in with COVID, and obviously dealing with the Americans can at times be challenging?
Look, the main thing is that I'm ready. I'm ready to go. If I have to go, I'll go. I couldn't care less. All I need is a location and a date. Quite simple. Unfortunately, it's becoming easier to go to America to fight now than to even go to fight in Queensland. So who knows what's going to happen. I'd love the fight to be here. I'd love the opponent to be Tony Harrison. Just the fact that he is the most avoided fighter in the division, and someone that no one's going to really want to fight. They're the guys that I want. They're the guys that I want to take their spirit out and show the whole roster in the PBC there that I am here to take over this division.
Well, it's the PBC guys in the super welterweight division right now that obviously hold a lot of the cards. And for those that don't know, Tony Harrison, as you mentioned, hell of a fighter, incredibly avoided for a number of reasons. 31 years old, 28 wins, 21 by KO, and only the 3 losses. And yes, he's been stopped in those losses, but this is a guy that has taken some big fights and obviously has a lot of power in both hands. And you've only got to look at what he was able to do in one of the Charlo fights. But I just wonder why you would want to risk it all to fight a guy like Tony Harrison, because you don't need to fight Tony Harrison. You want to fight Tony Harrison.
Oh, well, what am I going to do? Sit on my ass here and and wait for the opportunity. I'm not like that. I'm the type of guy that takes hand. No risk, no reward. I'm here for a small amount of time in this boxing world. So you gotta jump on every opportunity. You gotta jump on every big fight. You gotta jump on every little thing and just make the most of it.
The Stevie Spark fight was only 2 months ago, and you're obviously deep back into training now, as your face can attest to. Have you had any time off, mate?
No, I had a few days off.
What, a day?
Right?
Half a day?
But yeah, I was straight back into it because I knew that, you know, this was it. This was going to be the end of my road here in Australia with Australian opponents. And I said it to my promoter. I said it to my manager. I go, this is the last little bit. I go, stop feeding me these other guys anymore. I'm done with it. I want to go big time, and that means challenging yourself. Going in with the attitude, you got nothing to lose. That's it.
Does it irk you, mate? Like there's chatter around between. I mean, there's probably about 1% of fight fans in Australia that aren't a Tim Tszyu fan, but the 1%, you'll hear them say, "Well, he's only fought in Australia so far." Does it annoy you hearing that when pretty clearly you're ready to test yourself against the best right now?
Oh look, I completely agree. I need to be tested, and I need to get out of this country. It's always been a goal of mine, and you know, I'm still a newbie in this sport. And the way I've developed, I think my team has we've taken the right steps and the right opportunities to get to where we are now, and all we need now is the big time. If we can bring the big time here, then great. If we can if we have to go outside there, I'm down. I'm ready. My passport's ready. I'm ready to go.
You know, there's such a difference, Tim, with you. Like Brian Castano, for example, for mine, I think a lot of people would agree, probably won that fight against Charlo. But unlike you, instead of getting straight back into the gym, I know he got married, and fair enough to him, he's going to put his feet up. But these guys tend to take long periods off and then get back into the gym and almost need a couple of weeks of fat camp, and then they can get down to the work. Whereas you're always in shape, you're always ready to go. I know you work a lot on your power, and then you get into the technical side of things. What do you think your ceiling is against these guys? Do you feel like you can completely dominate them already, or do you feel like you need to test yourself first and work out where you sit?
Oh, look, it is a different level, of course. These guys are much more experienced. There's much more power. They're much more quicker. Their IQ is different, and it's quite interesting, yeah. But the fact that with my progression, I haven't stopped, and the fact that I keep these fights on, and I'm never happy with my performances, and that's what allows me to grow. And each time I come into the ring, I'm a different fighter. I'm bigger, better, stronger each time.
So when do you think, in a perfect world, you may be able to have an announcement on a fight? I know there's one soon. I know there are a number of guys in contention. Sergio Garcia, he's another one, 33-0. I know that you've been linked to him a number of times as well. So there are some really big options. Have you got any idea when you might know when you can go?
Man, I've been in training camp for a bit. Look, before it used to worry me who am I fighting or when am I fighting. Now it's just like, just hurry up and tell me the date, and I couldn't care less who it is anymore, as long as it's someone useful, someone that's got some significant meaning in the world stage, and someone that, you know, I can say that, you know, I've defeated and the Americans will be impressed with.
Well, listen, mate, we really appreciate your time. I guess you probably need to go and ice your eye up, because I've seen you look prettier before, my friend.
No, it's not too bad. It's just a little scratch. Just part of boxing. We're not dancing in there, right?
No, we're not. Well, mate, look, thank you for your time. Always appreciate it, and desperately hope that in the next couple of weeks we know that you've got a concrete date and a concrete opponent, because, gee, we're looking forward to seeing you back in there, mate.
Yeah, thanks, Cody.